So good morning, everybody. My name is Marko Ruokangas, and I'm happy to be with you here this morning together with my colleagues Petra, Byrith, Mercedes, and Severina, and of course our colleagues from the Commission. This is the second edition for webinars on Interreg consulting citizens and stakeholders. And without longer talks, I give the floor to Petra for kind opening words to set the scene for our discussion today. Please, Petra.
Thank you very much, Marko, and good morning, everyone. Warm welcome on behalf of Interact. As Marko already said, this is the second edition or the second meeting to discuss how to prepare and carry out consultation with stakeholders and citizens. And I think this debate is very important and will impact our own future. And as it's evident from the registrations, 180 people registered, and we already have more than 120 in the room, it's important to you as well. We met for the first time in December, on December 1st, and the main discussion topic was the draft toolkit and its content on how to consult citizens. The toolkit was finalized by the Commission still in December and published the same month under the name Guide for Shaping Together the Future Interreg. Our second meeting today will zoom in, and we will focus on one of the aspects, namely how to consult the public. We will touch upon the question why consulting the public is important, but also hear about different approaches and experiences. And in true Interreg manner and Interreg fashion, today's speakers are a well-balanced mixture of expert input, contribution from the European Commission, and of course, the experience of Interreg programs, our practitioners. I hope that this meeting will answer your questions, but also bring some inspiration and food for thought and help your consultation process. And since this event was prepared in close cooperation with European Commission, I will hand over now to Slawomir Tokarski, who will say a few remarks on behalf of the Commission and share their point of view. Slavek, now the floor is yours. Slavek, do we have you in the room?
Yes, apologies. We lost the connection for a moment, so we have to connect again. I guess that in this moment where I was not connected, you said that I'm going to speak. Indeed, let me start first by apologies because I will have to leave, which was not intended, but I have the meeting with Director General. So I was still wanted, as it is so important to us in the Commission, the topic of the consulting the citizens. So I still wanted to have this occasion to say a couple of words to you before I leave. And first of all, thanks to Interact colleagues who helped us with this webinar. We promised when we launched the consultation that we will support the programs in doing the consultation of citizens, because we know it is not that straightforward. So I think this webinar will be a good occasion for you from the programs to hear a sort of first-hand experience and to see that it is not that complicated as it might sometimes seem. I think, again, I would really emphasize the importance of this exercise. And there is a number of reasons, but maybe I will focus on the two. First of all, there is the increasing conviction in the Commission that the next budget will be the most difficult budget ever. And I'm not exaggerating here. So we really will have to square the circle. We have a huge pressure on resources. And in that context, every effort on giving legitimacy of what we propose through consulting the citizen, but also every effort to communicate properly what we do is crucial if you really want to find a place for Interreg in the period starting after 28. And secondly, I mean, this leaving aside these reasons, it is really essential for you in the program and for us in the Commission to know what people think about what we do, as simple as that. It is not only us, because I think just a day ago, the Commission has launched the consultation of citizens regarding energy efficiency. So this is a part of a trend which is broader than what we do in Interreg. But I think in the Interreg, we have this very unique connection with the citizens, and link, we are close to the people. So this type of consultation, this type of discussion with the citizens can only play in our favor. And whatever happens, the results of this consultation will be useful to you. And I think it is simply good to know what are the aspirations of the people, what people think about what we are doing in Interreg, and what people think about how the Interreg could best address their aspirations or their dreams. So again, thanks to Interreg colleagues, thanks for this seminar, which will give you really an occasion to see real life examples. As you know, we are going to meet in Riga, where we have another occasion to discuss about involving of the citizens in the policy making, so the next milestones. And let me end up by reminding you that we plan the harvesting event in the second half of November. So it is really essential that we are done with the citizen consultations by the end of October at the latest. So with that, I want to thank you for participating in the webinar, and I pass to Interreg colleagues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Slawek, for these words. This truly give us some basis for the discussion. And we'll see then you there in Riga in a bit more than a week. Okay, I will continue sharing now. You see it? Yes. Okay, good. So we took a little shortcut here in the beginning because Slawek was in a hurry to another meeting, as he said. So a couple of housekeeping things still before going to the topic. So Petra already ran through quickly the program what we are doing today. So here still the overview on that. The recap we took already got from Slawek, and then we go to our expert view on consultations, and then here some reflections by the programs, how they are planning to work, and then end up into questions and answers, and then it's time to wrap up the day and the week. And for making questions, Slido is available, so please use that for providing questions. And I guess that will be there also in chat. So I'll go forward. So post 27. And this we took already. And now I would like to give the floor to Kristen Huesmann from Bertelsmann's Foundation to present the consultations, how to, and we'll hear some insights and examples how to work with the consultations.
Yeah.
So please, I invite you to take the floor. Please.
Yeah, Marco, thank you very much. Thank you very much for introducing me, and all of you, thank you very much for having me here to give a short input, or perhaps a longer input, about how citizens can be involved in policy making, why we should do this, why we as a Bertelsmann Stiftung think this is a good idea, and what our experiences tell us how to do this, and how to facilitate, plan, conceptualize a positive citizen participation process. Thanks also directly to Aurélie for having me here and giving this opportunity. Keeping in mind that this topic is is so full of different subtopics. I try to be as short as possible to leave room for your direct questions and my hopefully correct answers afterwards, so that we really can have the opportunity to answer your specific challenges and hurdles. In addition to this, something I wanted to say after my presentation, but I announce it right now. We have gathered quite a lot of practical material to download for free to help you with conducting citizen participation processes. I will post the link in the chat after my presentation. We are open for bilateral calls if you have problems with conducting your citizen participation project also, and this presentation, of course, can be sent around to you in the aftermath of this session. And that being said, no further delays. Concept and design and concrete planning and implementing a participatory project. A short, so to speak, overview on the how to do. First of all, what do we do? As Marco already said, my name is Christian Huesmann from the German Think and Do Tank Bertelsmann Stiftung, Bertelsmann Foundation. We have experience about different topics, but concerning citizen participation, around 15 to 20 years of concrete projects that we implemented on all the different levels there are. For instance, here is citizens pictures from a citizens dialogue in The Hague, which was transnational, together with citizens from 4 different countries: Germany, Ireland, France, and Denmark. It was multilingual, done with simultaneous translation, done over several days, 4 days, and the results were presented to the European Commission, the topic how we want to live together in the EU. We've done this kind of international and bigger participation processes also in the online sphere, so we have quite a good experiences here. For instance, here pictures from Citizens Dialogue with Commissioner Vestager during the COVID days, where we had to change from presence and face-to-face meetings to a digital sphere, something that we carried over to the, let's say, post-pandemic days, something that really works doing citizens dialogues in a digital sphere. And having that said, we've done also a couple of other smaller, so to speak, citizens dialogues and consultation processes in person, digital, local, national, or transnational. Could be done, and we have done it for several days, but also just for several hours, 3 to 4 hours, small or big, from 20 to 120 citizens involved. So the range how to involve the citizens meaningfully in decision making or in setting up projects and programs, as you plan to do for the Interact program, as I understood it, is quite wide. You just have to pick your kind of method, your kind of approach to do so, and how to do this is part of the next slide and this presentation. One thing I really want to stress out before I go into the details is that our experience, as I said, about 20 years with citizen participation, we've done it practically, but we also done surveys and studies on this, is that citizens dialogues, and that means the meaningful involvement of citizens into policy making or setting up a process, really leads to better results and more legitimacy in the affected regions if done inclusively, deliberatively, and effectively. And what do we mean by these 3 buzzwords? We mean with inclusiveness, we don't mean representation. We mean the plurality and diversity of society, to incorporate different viewpoints, to adjust one's approach. we talk about deliberative, which means that there is room for exchange, there is room for the thoughts and the experiences and the comments of the citizens, and that experiences lead to joint proposals from the citizens. We are not speaking about gaining just a wide range of impression, but to get a structure to change different views and then a joint proposal for concrete question and policy making process. And when we speak about effectiveness, we speak about impact, we speak about commitment from politicians, from decision makers, from practitioners who are dealing with the ideas of the citizens, and this means really the commitment of these decision makers and a meaningful follow-up process for the results. This is also key for one of the main issues. Nearly every citizens participation process raises in the beginning how to involve citizens, how to recruit them, how to engage them, and how to make sure that they show up. The main hook here is actually to promise them and to be true to one's own word, is that their voices will be heard and that they will have an impact. So much for showing what I want to speak about in the next slides. And now we're going through these three, as I said, more or less passwords, but breaking it down to the practice, to the practical level, you will see that they really help to structure, conceptualize, and to carry out one's own process. Coming to the first one, the effectiveness, the topics and the political commitments. As I understood, you are now in the phase of thinking about how to engage the public, how to engage citizens. You have some background conditions, of course, for the Interact program, but the main goal is to involve citizens to improve the approach in your regions, how the Interact programs are set up and set out. And this leads actually to this triangle, these three questions you should ask yourself, you should deal with if you want to set up a citizen participation process. First of all, what's the relevance? What's the relevance for the citizens? Why should they come? What's the concrete question you want to ask them, which has meaning for them? So, for instance, a very theoretical question like, how can we improve the Interreg program 2027, keeping in mind the tight budget or the most problematic budget that we expect, is something that no citizen can relate to. It should be very practically, and this is as I understood it correctly, your high point of expertise dealing with the needs and the thoughts and experiences with citizens in your regions. But for the same thing counts for the political level, which, in my impression, here in your circumstances are your interests. What is of relevance for you in your region? What would help you, and what would help the Interact program? So these are the two things that you should really think about, and you should really head for something that is of relevance for both. Because first, if it's not of relevance for the citizens, they might not be interested in showing up. But if it's not of relevance for you and for the Interact program, then it's very difficult to get a real impact. And the citizens will know this. I mean, that's our experiences. If you set up a process without having a real question, without having a real idea how citizens' voices can help you, this will be an issue in the following process. The other thing is, as I already said, impact is very strongly connected to relevance. If you set up a citizen participation process, make sure that you involve the decision makers and to conceptualize a follow-up process for the implementation of the voice of the citizens as soon as possible, and be very clear about this. when you communicate about the process. This is the heart and soul and center of citizens' participation processes. Be sure that there is a clear follow-up process what to do with the citizens' proposals. And results is something that I already mentioned during the relevance. The relevance buzzword is you really need, if you want to get concrete results out of a citizen participation process, you need a very concrete question. You need something, a one-liner that you can ask the citizens why they are involved. We want from you, we want to know what is, how to. These are the questions that you should ask your citizens, and so you can be sure to come to concrete joint proposals. Just for instance, here you see a citizens participation process that we carried out. We conceptualized in the city of Eltville. They were dealing there with the consequences of the COVID crisis and wanted to learn more for a sustainable Eltville. And here you see the questions that they asked, that they had for each of these three topics concerning effectiveness, the relevance, the results, and the impact. And yeah, I will just show it here to you and not read it out because you can all see it. But what we see is that they really get down to earth, down to practice with the questions. Yeah. So what political issue is particularly important for you, for your region, for the EU? And that's something that every citizen can answer after one or two thoughts. Yeah. Here just some proposals and possibilities about topics for citizen dialogues and citizen assemblies and panels. If you're talking about local dialogue on urban development in your region, and this could be important. It's like we have a problem with vacancies in our inner city. What ideas, innovations do we have for shaping our inner city and creating a vibrant city center? And of course, in your case, it should be linked to the Interreg program. How can the EU, for instance, help us here? What do you want from the EU? So you see, although you can be very practically on the ground level in your region, what does our region need? You can also very easily connect it to the European level, to the Interreg level, with these simple questions. Again, I won't read it out, but you see here European dialogue on the environment. What can we do in Europe to avoid microplastics? What can we in our region do to improve the environment? And how can the EU help us here? How can we benefit from the Interreg program? This is something, in my impression, if you give some input and expert input into these citizens dialogues, that every citizen can relate to and can participate in. Next, quality criteria, apart from effectiveness, is inclusiveness. I really want to use this, the next two slides to make a stand for really involving a diverse group of citizens and not only counting on self-recruitment. Self-recruitment meaning just setting up the process and relying on all the citizens who come there, because although it is important to also hear the voices of people who have a stake in the topic and who have some kind of knowledge about the topic, it's also important to hear people who are not so politically involved in, for instance, the Interreg procedures or the political level of your regions. And I give you two reasons for this before I go into the slides. First of all, we know that people mainly show up if they have an issue, if they have a problem with something going on. And although their feedback is valuable as well, we also want to hear from people who have no issue but can comment on planned activities from an unbiased way. And the best thing to do, in our impression, is to combine these two groups of people. First, people who have an interest and an issue and perhaps problems with political decision or with the political process going on, and people who are not so involved but on a lower level interest in general in, for instance, the region they are living in, because these two people, these two groups tend to really work good together after a couple of minutes of adjusting to different viewpoints. And this is where the sweet spot of added value of citizens' participation processes lies, to really get to a good deliberation process among citizens who have very different opinions, but nevertheless come to joint conclusions, to joint remarks, to joint questions. But nonetheless, as I said, I just want to make a stand for really involving a diverse group of citizens here, and not just the usual suspects. One disclaimer that I already made is that when we talk about inclusiveness, we do not talk about representativity, because we cannot get representativity in these numbers that we are dealing with. We are dealing with 20, 30, 50, max 100 or 120 involved citizens in a dialogue. You cannot achieve representativity, but what you can achieve is a diversity of opinion and diversity of society. Yeah. So it's not measured by the sheer number of people who take part, but it's measured by how you take into account all the interest, opinions, and ideas that exist in your political community, and you are the ones who know it best. And that's why structures like the national level or the European level really needs people like you on the ground with the expertise, what's important for, so to speak, your citizens. And as I said before, diversity of society aims really to prevent this over-representation of already active groups, because then you get a bias. Then you get a bias, and this, in our experiences, really leads to frustration from the broader public. And these are the kind of people you want to involve, the broader public. But nonetheless, something that may seem contradictory here is that all groups that are affected by the decision should also be represented. And this means, as I said before, that you combine these two groups, the broader public, who is not so politically involved, and the groups who are very politically active and have an issue in the stakes. As I said, actively promotes the participation of groups that are usually not involved. And here the benefits why you should do this is really that you get a broad range of experiences, thought, and perspectives you can work with, which can improve your decision, your process, your program. You get an unbiased input on your given topic. And as I said, it sparks conversation among people who might never have met. So this is an added value of citizens' participation processes, that citizens really learn how to deal with different opinions and see the diversity of the regions they live in. Yeah. And inclusiveness, of course, includes participants who are more often unprejudiced and who can think outside the box, which is very useful if you're thinking of new ways how to deal with challenges. And combining these two groups through inclusiveness really produces proposals that are usually balanced and reasonable. As I said, one issue that always arises is how to get these citizens. And to be very honest, I didn't make a slide here because the ways of engaging citizens is so diverse that it's a presentation in itself. But one thing that I really want to stress is that there is no right or wrong, but you really need to use all your outreach and all the ways you can contact people to get the results, to get them engaged. It is not, I mean, it's, as I said, it's vital to set up a process that is meaningful for them. It's vital to set up a follow-up process. It's set up to have it's vital to have a question set up which to which they can relate, but it's also vital to use all your channels to advertise and to announce your project here. And this meaning traditional media outreach. This means social media. This means making advertisement in your own multiplier groups. This means using social media, and this means also using different ways of contacting people. For instance, the method of randomly selected citizens, which is the gold standard, so to speak, of citizens recruitment. But we can come to this if you're interested in this in a later version. Now we are getting quite practically here right now with the third and last quality principle, deliberation. What is deliberation? Deliberation means really an eye-to-eye exchange from citizens. And here we are getting, as I said, very practically involved. 5 factors to ensure high quality discussions and results if you plan your citizens participation process. First, as I said, it's the diversity of participants. This is of great benefit for you, but you also need sufficient time for working on the topic. And this, of course, depends on the aims and complexity of the topics you present your citizens with. So there is no right way to do this. The rule of thumb is if you set up a process, add 30 minutes more, because you always need more time. You need structure, moderation, and interactive methods to achieve consensus. This means you cannot let the people just talk for themselves. You need moderated discussions and moderated tools and methods. This counts for very in-depth discussion face-to-face in presence, for in-depth discussions in a online surrounding, but it also counts if you just, in brackets, just set up a consultation hotline or consultation web page where people can comment on your question digitally. There also you need straight up rules. You need a good moderation of the process of interaction between the citizens. First of all, so that everyone knows what he or she has to do, what's the aim, what's the purpose, and also that you can structure the process so that there won't be stuff showing up which is not related and will lead to frustration if not moderated in a good manner. What you also need is, of course, expert knowledge information. Think about experts who can give an input to the topic so that the citizens can gain knowledge about the topic you want to discuss. And it's also important to guide the discussions into not so much emotional but factual-based way, so that they perhaps start with their own experiences, but then come down to the numbers, facts, and figures. And of course, you need a good documentation so that the people do not have to take their minutes themselves, but can refer after 2 hours of discussion to things that they said earlier, and to clarify all the things that were being said in the deliberation, so that nothing gets lost. And as I said, now we're getting more or less practically involved here. If we speak of deliberation, we have conceptualized a very simple 5 steps solution how to involve citizens very practically for the creation of proposals. So if your question might be, how can our region benefit from the Interact program in the future? or perhaps something like, how do we want to be supported by the EU in the next years, then this is something that you could use the 5 steps of creation of citizens' proposals for these questions. The first steps always is the brainstorming and exchange of experiences. This is a very open step where people can just share their experiences with a given topic, and to get them talking and to get insights from the citizens, how they experienced the issue that you want to talk about. And they can also brainstorm about what they think is good and what they think doesn't work. The next step is bringing these experiences on a factual-based level, and to come from emotions and experiences to facts and figures. You involve experts and information here, so that citizens can first learn about the topic at hand, but also can shift the discussion and the proposals into a more factual based manner. Third step is then really to leave the citizens not alone, but leave the room again for them, so that they can develop and prioritize ideas. These 2 steps are crucial. If you let them speak and develop ideas, they will come up with a whole range of different ideas. Some you might like, some you might not. But if they come up, for instance, with 10 ideas, and you say, yeah, well, but we now need to know the 3 most important issues for you. That's first very practically good, so you don't have to have a follow-up process on 10 very different and perhaps not shared by everybody developed opinions, but also prioritizing ideas tend to eliminate more exotic ideas that people cannot relate to. Then if you have your range of ideas, something that you of course have to decide how many you want, they can go in depth and work on the specification of these ideas and proposals. For instance, if they come up with something like, we need more money from the EU, then specification of ideas and proposals would be, but how do you want to spend it, and perhaps how do you want to get this? And then the 5th step is also already leading into the follow-up process. It's always a good idea to have politicians and decision makers here involved. They just have to be present and give them some time to discuss these ideas with the citizens, so that first you get a better understanding again of what is important for your citizens and how can it be implemented into practice, but also second, that the citizens get the impression and the idea that there is a follow-up process and they are taken seriously. Yeah. Here again is an example of a border region with the question, how can we strengthen the collaboration? Something that is perhaps may sound familiar for you. Here were some guiding questions for the moderation of for each of these steps. Yeah. Step 1, how do you experience the neighboring region in your everyday life? How strongly are the regions connected? And what problems and challenges do you see? So you get all the information of the everyday life of the citizens. Then you can have a look at the facts. People can ask questions to the experts or can look them up in the material you provide them with, and they can learn something. And they can prioritize which new aspects that they just learned can be important for the discussion. Then again, the ideas priorities. Do we need closer cooperation? What ideas do you have? Step 4, proposals. How can these 1 or 2 or even 3 ideas be shaped? Which aspects are important for us? And then you present this and discuss this with participants and politicians, so that you can get a better insight into the follow-up process and what would this mean for the practice. Here again, something that we did in the Tri-National Border Region of Basel, 240 minutes, including breaks. This is the estimated time you could need to do this. Keep in mind, if you raise or even decrease the number of citizens, that won't influence the time you need for the different sessions. Because the people will work not in the plenary but also in small groups. The concrete idea is that you always, if you want to really involve citizens digitally or online in a deliberative process where they can discuss things, that you of course start with a plenary session, but then go into small groups, 6 to 12 people, that they can discuss in depth their impressions, their experiences, and their ideas on this given topic. You see, it's always an exchange between plenary and small groups, so that also, although people are working in the small groups, there is a time and space for feedback from the bigger group to the smaller groups, so that not only everybody can learn what the other groups are developing in their groups and the smaller groups, but also that they can comment on this and perhaps even come to a joint conclusion what the best 5 proposals from all the groups together are, which means perhaps that not every group can have a best of proposal here, but this is something again that is very in detail for your concept. No? As I said, it's not about the numbers of the citizens, these times and these steps. There's a model for 50, 75, 100 citizens. It doesn't affect the time frame, but it affects the amount of personnel and staff you need here. Of course, the more people you want to involve in these kind of deliberative processes, the more people you need to moderate. And if you decrease the number to 20 or 30, of course, then you need less people as staff and supporting personnel. No? Just here an impression of what we did in the aforementioned digital discussion, not digital discussion, but citizens dialogue in The Hague, where we did this with simultaneous translation. You not only have room for the citizens, but also for the moderators, experts, and interpreters at the tables. But you can already see that this kind of design can easily be implemented into the digital sphere. We're not talking about tables, but then about perhaps Zoom and breakout sessions here, which also works really good. Yeah, next steps. I see that we are quite advanced with the time, and I want to leave some minutes left for feedback and discussion. But now it's more or less up to you to decide about method and goals. What kind of participation do you want to have? I understood from some questions I got beforehand that some of you are thinking about the possibility of either doing a survey or just an online consultation for your citizens via a web page where they can just type in things, or that they consider doing an all-out citizens participation process, as I indicated here. So this is something that you have to decide what you want. Do you want a bilateral, bilingual citizens participation process, or one done in every municipality or just in one region to get an insight? This is something you need to think about, the concrete methods, how you inform citizens. We have made good experiences with providing them with extra material, not only beforehand, but at the event of the deliberation itself, so that they can have the material there. But also it's very important and even more useful for the citizens to have experts present who give a really short citizen-friendly input, but who are there if the citizens have questions, and they can just join the tables or the breakout sessions or the discussions for a short time. For instance, if you plan for a consultation process via a web page where they can type in their ideas and do not aim for a deliberation process involving experts is also of great value. You could think about having an open webinar or a video message from the experts integrated into your web page also. Now, we've talked about brainstorming, prioritizing, and documenting here, just some very hands-on practices how to do this. Prioritizing is always done with these, not always done, but it's the easiest way to do this with these sticky dots. People get just 2 or 3 sticky dots and pin them on the idea that they find the most interesting, most useful. You see it in the top right-hand picture, but also polls and surveys as you've already experienced, I think, in the digital sphere can be useful in the right-hand picture. Involvement of politicians, it's always nice to have them there. It's always nice to have them in 2 different ways. First, of course, the well-known panel situation where they can react to certain ideas. Here you see our binational citizen participation process with Martin Sellmeier, former General Secretary of the Commission. But it's also nice to have the politicians really go on an even footing with the citizens at the tables, for instance. Yeah. Of course, beside online on-site dialogues, everything I just talked about is adaptable for both. Yeah. One thing I really want to stress from my experiences, it's always good to have a very detailed schedule. It's even more important in an online surrounding. But as I said, we have quite a lot of material to download for free. These kind of detailed schedules are part of the material that we can provide you with if you're interested in it. Now, here, as last slide, the work organization slide, the checklist, things you have to tip off if you're planning citizens dialogues, the key elements and the next steps. I won't read them out right now, but here it's a step-by-step checklist what you need to do if you plan the citizen participation process, from analyze the context and the actors and agreeing and deciding on the purpose, aims, topics, and questions to approaching potential service providers when you decide that you need service providers and cannot realize these kind of processes with your own personnel. And that keeping in mind, that's more or less for my intervention here. A not so short overview about designing and planning a citizen participation process in an effective, inclusive, and most important, deliberative way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Christian. Thank you very much of these tips and practical examples that you shared with us. Really good information and information that we really should consider when taking steps forward. And as Christian already said, so he's been tackling the questions that you raised up there with registration. So we forwarded the questions to Christian, and I can see that he tackled I think majority of all the questions that were there, and of course the material that was now presented, the slides is shared with you after this event. But having said that, so do we have any questions there in chat, Mercedes? In chat, I guess I do not see, but in Slido, I guess we have a couple of questions.
Nothing in the chat. Nothing in the chat.
There are currently 2 questions in the Slido.
Okay, please.
The first question is, can we use existing citizens forums? We will reach people easier this way, but maybe less inclusive. We would advertise the advance, still there will be a bias? That's the first question.
Is this if this is a question for me? I mean, if it's not against the rules, so to speak, of the Interact program to use existing forums, I do not see anything that speak against it. But as I said, I would strongly advertise, perhaps by starting to involve these forums, and give room for citizens who want to be involved also. Yeah, perhaps advertise this. So the good thing is, if you have an existing forum, you have people who are on board already. But I would strongly make a stand and a point for going beyond this group of people, because you miss things out. Yeah, that's the thing, and it could be easily done if you just bring these two groups together, as I said, for 2, 3, 4 hours session to brainstorm together about your topic. Now, 20 people, and if you have 10 or 15 already involved in your forum, that's enough. That's just my train of thought.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have one other question.
Yes.
You have spoken about simultaneous translations. What do you think of organizing the consultation in English?
Yeah, we've done this also. We've done this also, and of course, what I presented you is, so to speak, the gold standard. The things you can do if you have the resources. If you don't have the resources, you can also think about being not so inclusive, because we have to face it. Not everybody, everyone speaks English, so you will not reach everybody. But English is a way to go. You could also think about doing just translation for one small group, and there's also the solution of so-called whisper translators, multipliers, people who are involved there and can accompany people who are not fluent English, and just place them next to them, so that at least different points of time you can also involve people who are not fluent English. But yeah, English is a solution if you cannot afford translation. That's totally true.
Okay, thank you. And I think we got
just
yes, please.
some more questions.
Yep. Please.
Yes. So the next question would be: could you elaborate more on how to approach citizens, or do you have further material on this?
Yeah, we have. I can do both. I can do both. First, we have material on this. I will post the link after I answered all your questions. Hopefully, all the questions, but also can elaborate a little bit more about this. The thing is, as I said before, there are more or less 3 ways on how to engage or how to reach out to citizens. The first approach is the broad approach, advertising, and it's more or less advertising. You spread the word to all your channels that you know, in newspapers, social media, newsletters, and so on and so on. And then you just set up perhaps a registration page, and people can register for your citizen dialogue, or for your project, or just show up. This is up to you. I would always argue for setting up some kind of registration process, so that you know how many people and who comes to your participation process, because we consider participation processes not a kind of town hall meeting. Everybody shows up. It's a very frontal design, and people can just stand up and have a say. But we think about consultation and participation in a way that people really can exchange in depth in smaller and bigger rounds. So it's vital for you, if you do this, to know who shows up. So there needs to be a registration process. And then you for this broader approach, you just spread the word. Second approach is you try to reach people via multipliers. You know that there are some organizations, some associations, some clubs in your region who organize people already. and try to activate them. For instance, if there are environmental organizations, it's always good to say something like, we are setting up this consultation process. It would be good to have the voice of the environmental organizations involved there as well. Can you perhaps indicate 2, 3, 4, 5 people who want to show up? Yeah. That goes for every organization. And the third approach is more or less an approach to reach the broader public. We are calling this a random selection. And the gold standard is that you have databases, and then you can draw a sample from this, and then contact people. But if you don't have these, but if you don't have these kind of databases, and we know that not every region has the resources and the numbers and the addresses of people, you can also identify how to say it in English, towns or regions, or even part of villages or something like this, where you think people live, that you want to engage, and just show up there and go to the market square and stand there for just 30 minutes and trying to engage with people with flyers and so on and so on. Yeah, the thing is that I really, as you see, want to make a strong point again for involving not only the usual suspects. Our impression really is that if you involve the so-called normal citizen, you really benefit from this. Not only get the results better, and there's a different viewpoint, but also the discussions in the forum or in the dialogue tend to get more grounded, because not only you have to face the viewpoint of the not so politically involved, but also the stakeholders and the interested people have to face a different opinion from other people. Sorry to be so time-consuming with this question, but as you see, it's a matter of heart for me.
No. Thank you, Christian. On the opposite, really important points that you raised up. So thank you, Christian, for your really valuable impulse that you gave, and maybe you can share the link, as you said, so that could be useful for all. So Mercedes, you still have.
Yes, Marco, we have one question in the chat. It's from Tomasz Petikowski. He's asking, well, he congratulates Christian, your presentation, as we do all. And he's asking, what is your experience in engaging all social groups? I mean, you can read it here, all social groups. So representation, does it work with all levels of education, or there is a need to adjust? Do you have experience with such situation?
Yeah, Thomas. To be very, very open with you, and the first thing I need to say again is, of course, you can reach out to every social group and so on and so on. But the harsh truth is, even with these kind of new ways to engage citizens, you won't get everybody on board. That's something that you have to adjust to. You won't get representation. You won't get every social group on board that is there in your region. But having said this, we really have made a good experiences with reaching out to even groups who are usually not involved, and reaching out especially to them, lower education, migrants, and so on and so on. And our experiences, if you contact them directly with a very how to say it? I mean, if you send out a letter which is signed by a mayor, that makes more impression than it's sent out by just me. So this is something that you can use. And if you want to reach out to groups who are usually not represented and not easily contacted, then it's the best way is really to go to the multiplier groups. do you have, for instance, migration organizations in your region? Reach out to them. Yeah, go to the schools. Go to the schools if you want to have younger people with lower education. But it's
okay. Thank you.
Difficult. Sorry.
Yeah,
it's difficult.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Christian. So
we have
still
two
have
more questions in the
yes
Slido.
before going there. So just there was a question whether we have a break. Yes, we do have a break. Let's take last questions and then have a break and continue after that. So but now we still have these questions. Please, Severina.
Okay, so the next question is, can you define the costs of on-site dialogues and preparation time?
That's difficult. That's really difficult, and I fear I cannot answer this out of an empty stomach, because I don't know what things you can achieve with your own personnel and what kind of service providers and no, sorry. But what I can do is offer you my email address and my telephone number, and talk to you 5 or 10 minutes or 50 minutes in depth about your process, and then say something about resources, effort, and so on and so on. But every number I now throw in here would be wrong, to be honest. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
so I would indeed advise then the person who sent this question, as Slido is anonymous, to get in contact with Christian, and maybe then you two can talk more about it. The next question is, during workshops, how much time do we need to devote to have meaningful and deep discussions?
Yeah. Actually, I will come shortly back to my presentation. And of course, more time is always useful, and so on and so on. But as I said, if you go for something like first impression and a first gathering of ideas and proposals, meaningful discussions, if you send the material beforehand and have a plenary and a good moderation, can be done in 45 to 60 minutes. Yeah, so 2 hours is not enough. I would say 3 hours, 180 minutes to 240 minutes. You can achieve good discussions with this timetable. Yeah, more time is always better, but this is something where you can really get meaningful results from. Yeah, so that's it.
Okay. Thank you. And still the final question. Yes.
The final question is it a good strategy for random selection to elect different places? Is it important to do it simultaneously?
The answer is it depends. The question is, my first question would be, whom do you want to involve, and to what topic? And then I would say the more diverse, the better. And if I understand your question right, is that you're thinking now about your region and how to involve different people from different places in your region. And I would say it depends strongly on the question. If the question involves all the whole region, which I think it will affect, then I would say identify the different stakes of the regions. Could be that there are some regions who have different interests, who have lower inhabitants or more inhabitants, or are more rural or are more urban, and so on and so on. So if they have different things to say, different part of your regions, then you should combine them all together and start simultaneously. Yeah, I hope this is something that you wanted to hear. If I didn't answer your question, again, I will in the chat share my contact details and the link to the material that we can provide you with. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Christian, and thank you very much for your input. And would you be still available for the second part? You stay online as well, so if anything comes, so you can direct send direct chats for Christian. Okay, so now we could shorten a planned break a bit. We are a bit late schedule, so we could have a 10 minutes break. And after the break, we go into the first reflections of approaches that programs have chosen for the consultations, and then go to questions and answers that have been provided by questions that you have provided in the registration, and plus then what comes up there on the second part. So 10 minutes break. We'll be back here 10:02. Thank you. So we'll go forward with the program, and in the second part, as said earlier, we get some first reflections of planned consultations and the approaches that the programs have chosen. We initially had three examples or 3 programs presenting, but unfortunately only 2 are able to be here today. So we go forward with those, and then after that we go to questions and answer session. And so now I could, just a moment, I'll share the screen to show it here. So first reflections, and I ask Silvia to take the floor. Please, Silvia.
Hello, good morning. Thank you, Marco. I will share with you some of our thoughts and how we are planning to organize the consultation in Interreg Italy-Croatia program. So first of all, I would like just to anticipate that we are a cross-border program, but our program area is quite large, as we extend in the 2 shores of the Adriatic all along Italy and Croatia. So it's a bit difficult, rather difficult for us to actually reach out to the people in the territories because of how our program area is actually built. Having said that, we are working on both the online and on-site consultation, and some thoughts that we have and that we can share at the moment. We have developed a plan that we are submitting to our monitoring committee for endorsement. And in this plan, we have envisaged activities that we will develop and carry out as a program, but also activities that we would like the projects to be involved in. Indeed, one of the things that we came out with is that maybe it's easier for us to reach the citizens through the projects, because our projects are actually very active in the territories. We have a lot of small projects that are working with the people, with the associations. So we think that in this way we can more easily reach out to the citizens, which is one of our main concerns. Because of course we have a broad list of stakeholders. We have a lot of beneficiaries and potential ones, both from both the current and the previous programming period, but we don't have such a group of citizens or direct links to these citizens that we can actually use. So what we are preparing is some kind of guideline for the projects to develop the survey, to develop the consultation during their on-site events in the coming months. We actually have projects that are ending, the first project, the small ones. We have projects that are starting, so they are organizing launch events and conferences. So we think this could be good occasions to actually speak to the people and see if we can get some answers, some suggestions for the consultation. So that's the first thing. we are also working on the online consultation. We envisage, of course, to have some online survey using the questions. Of course, we are adapting a little bit the question to our context. We are a maritime program. I think other programs might have our same concern that it's not easy to talk about borders when you are a maritime program. So we are a little bit adjusting that. Let's say that this survey that we will launch will have some kind of disclaimer, as we are aware that a lot of our beneficiaries are beneficiaries from other programs as well. And I will probably get multiple times the same questions. So we think we will share a kind of disclaimer saying that we are sorry if you already received the questionnaire, but we are happy if you want to respond, or if you have already replied to the same questions, feel free not to answer. So something like that, just to make sure that overlapping, we know it's not a problem, but we are also aware that they might be annoyed by receiving too many times the same questionnaire. We also think that the questionnaire online, the survey online, could be facilitated through some closed format of the questions, of the answer, sorry, because we are afraid that if we leave it completely open, then we will get very few replies. So we think that multiple responses, always leaving an open box for out-of-the-box replies or inputs could be a better way to actually get some inputs from the online survey. Then we will also build up a web page where the stakeholders or the citizen can always bring their contribution. And we think to use the social media by dividing the questionnaire in different weeks. So to pose one question per week, one topic, one piece of the survey per week, in order to make it a little bit easier, maybe lighter for the citizens and for the people that follow us to reply. So that's another thing that we came up with. Finally, on-site events organized by us, we are thinking, we don't have much budget for that, as I suppose other programs. So we are thinking to organize the consultation within other bigger events that will take place during this year in our program area. I just make some examples: boat shows, sailing races, or shipbuilding events, all those big fairs that are happening that are connected to the sea, which is our main focus, or to blue economy. And that we can actually go there and somehow cross, especially stakeholders of the territories that can bring their views. We are planning some, for instance, some events which are targeted to specific stakeholders. For instance, we are doing an event at the Venice Film Festival where we will involve only politicians, because we know that that occasion is something that can actually be attractive of politicians. So we are doing that. And we are asking our regions and delegations to actually suggest other events in the program area that we can use to carry out the consultation. So this is a bit how we have envisaged it so far. We are, sorry, I forgot that we activated 2 Ivy volunteers right for that. They will start one in March this year and one in June. And they will be dedicated to on-site and online events, and in particular to reaching out to young people. So that's how we have intended to do it. Probably in connection with the Green Week, we will see what we can do about that. That's it from my side. And of course, if you have any question, I'm at disposal. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Silvia, for these really interesting ideas. How you employ, for example, projects for these consultations with citizens. Really good ideas. We'll take a note of this and then share these ideas. Really valuable points. Any immediate reflections? Any questions directly before going forward? Julian, please.
Hello, good morning. You hear me well?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm coming from a territorial cooperation program that it's not cross-border and it's not transnational. We are from an outermost region. And we are for the program between the Azores, Madeiras, and the Canary Islands. And we share some worries that have been already commented by Madame Comiati. And it's one of them is the problem what we have with our territory. So we have 19 islands that are part of the program, and the fragmentation and dispersation of the territory makes very difficult to do these on-site events. So for sure, we are thinking about already to put an online survey. We already have some experiences about online queries to our entities, but it's very difficult to move or to implicate people from those islands in situ. So we are maybe what we have in mind is that we could combine both things. So first, it is impossible to make consultations in each one of the 19 islands. Maybe we can concentrate some of them in the bigger islands, but for the other ones, it will be absolutely necessary to go for the online options. And what we are very worried about is how to project that consultation to our network, to our partners that are 7 African partners, so with which we do not share any frontier. We are a maritime. We could say we are also a maritime program. So this problem of the reality of territory, I think that it really has an influence on the shape of the consultations that we can do. So thank you very much for your ideas and for your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Julian, for reflecting on Silvia's presentation and sharing your thoughts and concerns. Really good points that you brought up. But okay, thank you. So now we give the floor to Christian Byrith from North Sea Region. Please, Christian.
Thank you very much. And I'm very impressed with your pronunciation of my name. It's very rare that anyone pronounces it correctly, so it's really nice. Anyway, thank you very much for inviting me to this. We're in the middle of this exercise like everyone else, and I have to say we've had to make some very tough choices as part of this exercise, simply to be able to manage the process. Now, first of all, we have two main constraints. I think everyone shares that we have no additional funding for this exercise, and we only have limited internal resources. Actually, people are doing work already. We're not having a number of people sitting in the corridor waiting for a task. So it's something we need to do in addition to what we normally do. Also, we've been very clear internally that we are not here to make a scientific survey. We are here to get basically some input on those who might be interested in our program. That's how we see the task. There might be other angles on it, but that's the one we've chosen. We had to make sort of a choice between addressing stakeholders and citizens, and we made it very clear that our main focus will be on stakeholders, because we believe that's where we'll get the most useful input, but we will also consult the citizens. We've then decided, when we want to address citizens, it's for us very important that they have some kind of idea about Interreg. and cooperation in an EU context. I know that we disagree on that with some of the previous speakers, but we believe, we're afraid that we might not get very useful answers if we are asking people who have no idea what we're doing. Same way as if we ask people if they like sunshine or if they had a particular opinion about quantum physics. We will not get anything very sensible out of that in that context, and we're afraid that we might be in a similar situation. We've just asked, shall we say, very broad and very open-ended questions. So what we've decided to do is that we would like to get hold of the relevant citizens, because as Silvia said, we don't have a database either. With all the members of the public here, we wouldn't be allowed to have it, would we? Because of the GDPR rules. So we don't have really a database where we can just type in, we want XY citizens. So what we try to do is to go via middleman or middle women for that matter. One of them is one option is EU Direct, which is available in most of our countries. We also have contact with the North Sea Commission. It's a political organization, a little bit like the CPMR in our area, where they have a youth initiative, and both of those types of organization will have direct access to the kind of citizens we are looking for. So we're just mentioning those two. There will be more, but that's just to give you an idea where we're coming from. Well, basically, we've got two angles on this. One is questionnaires, where we are very, very much close to the Commission a list of questions. We try to tweak them a little bit so that they actually make sense to people in our region. The way we're going to do it, though they're very similar, we would have one for stakeholders and one for citizens. And they simply will operate by way of a skip logic. So if you're in one group, you get certain questions. If you're in another group, you get other questions, which are targeted to your specific group. Then we had a little bit of a problem. I don't know if anyone's been having a similar one, but maybe it's just us being silly. We've always been very much using SurveyMonkey, but we realized during this process that we can't because of the GDPR reasons. They are an American-based company, so therefore we are not allowed to use them. I know that other programs are using them, but they haven't discovered the fact that they're American yet, I guess. So at the moment, we're working on an alternative in terms of jot form, which seems to be it's not as good, but it's okay. We can work with it, but it's something to bear in mind when you do these exercises, that you can get into trouble with GDPR, even when you don't think there's a problem. Now, that was the questionnaires. In addition to that, we would like to do some focus group analysis where we, for example, in connection with events, we are not going to have separate events made for this because we haven't got the money to do that. But we would, if we have meetings or have access to meetings where people who might be interested in this are gathered, then we will simply make use of carry out a focus group analysis on that. We also want to do a similar thing with the North Sea Commission Youth Initiative because we think that could be really, really interesting. On this, we're not particularly far in this. We've put all our eggs in the basket of questionnaires so far because they have to be done. The others are the icing on the cake. If we can do it, we will do it. But that's where we are at the moment. Yeah, well, basically, we also like very much the idea. We hadn't, to be honest, we hadn't thought of that. That the project could also be a very useful angle, as Silvia was describing, to the citizens. We will probably get hold of some of the guys that we maybe have more difficulties in reaching with the other approaches. So that's certainly going to be part of our deliberations for the future. That's where we are at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Christian, for sharing this and also bringing up some practical problems also what comes to this consultations, not only with the SurveyMonkey, but also the problem that is I assume shared by all, that it is something that you're doing in addition to the regular work and with no additional funding for that. So. But okay, any immediate questions before we go to actual questions and answers sessions? Anything for Christian at this moment? Okay, that seems not to be the case. So Christian, you'll be here if anything comes up. Oh, okay, Mercedes, please.
No, I just wanted to tell you that in the chat, there's no question for Christian so far. Let me check again. Well, now, okay. Yeah, I mean, there's only, the chat right now is only sharing some of the feelings. First of all, there was some comment regarding Julian's presentation and concern. Also, Nathalie answered, so it's more related to concerns. Also, ABR mentioned the link that you could use IV as a support for the consultation. So it's more like a forum that they are supporting one to each other more than asking questions. But maybe, I don't know, somebody now is raising their hands. Also here, I can see Severina that maybe the questions are on Slido, and Rania, she has her hand raised, so maybe she wants to ask a question.
Yeah, actually, I had a quick question or more of a remark. Thank you, Christian, for the presentation. Just on the GDPR aspect in SurveyMonkey, it's true that it's not something that we had in mind. But from my understanding with this online questionnaire, the idea is to have the respondent answer without providing any contact information. So I'm wondering if there's really an issue with GDPR if we don't really collect personal information in this questionnaire and just ask the respondent to answer anonymously. So there, I was just to comment on that.
Yeah, the thing is, we didn't think there was a problem either, but we were made aware of it by our very nice colleagues in Hamburg. They're always very determined, Germans, when it comes to things like that. And the problem is that you can always identify people, because if you fill in a questionnaire, the system will be able to identify you, even though it's not something that we have, but it would be something that I know this is very sort of far-fetched, but if the FBI wants to get hold of you, they can find you via SurveyMonkey if you would actually put it in. And therefore, Hamburg said, we can't work with this. We're not allowed to work with it. And if Hamburg isn't, then we have a bit of a problem, because they play a rather significant role in our program. And so we thought this is no way forward. We have to change course and go for something else that is more, shall we say, kosher in this context. And we're probably seeing ghosts. But if our stakeholders are seeing bigger ghosts than we are, then let's go for that.
Okay, thank you, Christian. Nathalie, please, you raised your hand, or did it
yes.
go already? Yeah, please.
It was on that exactly, actually, if I may come in now. Just
yes,
to let
please,
you know
please.
that you hear me okay? Yes? Yeah?
Now we hear you. Yeah, there was some
You hear
breaks.
me?
Now okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Just to let you know that the Commission's own tool for surveys, which is called EU survey, is actually not limited to tool developed by Commission. So I think on
we are losing your voice.
The FBI coming in.
Yes, obviously we lost your voice, so we didn't hear it properly.
You lost me?
Now you're back.
Okay. EU survey. I was just saying that EU survey. The Commission's own tool for it. So you could do your surveys via that tool. It's just called EU survey. If you Google it, you'll go.
Okay. I think
you can create
got
your
the
own
message,
survey. Yeah.
Yeah. But sorry. The connection somehow is breaking. So we didn't get it clear. But anyhow, EU survey can be used as well. So that was the key message. Okay. Good. So having said that, so we could go forward with the program. We are already a bit late. Oh, okay. Sorry, we have one question. Let's take that last question and then go to.
I actually
other
think
questions.
this may have already been answered because it was also on this topic. The question was that the person missed the issue with the American company. Can you share a little more? But I think actually we already answered it. If you want to elaborate more on it.
I think yes. I think we tackled the problem that is there. Yes, I guess so. But okay, so thank you once again, Silvia, Kristen. So perfect examples that you shared. So good ideas to be shared with all. So hope they were taken these points you raised up. And now we have the next part dedicated for the questions, and we received a number of questions in advance through registrations from you, and we have forwarded these questions to our colleagues in the European Commission, and they are prepared to tackle these questions with their answers. So so do we go now? We have these questions on slot here on slide. Nathalie, Simona, who is taking the floor, would you like to come on stage and start with these questions? And or how do you want to proceed? Is it okay? First set of questions here. Okay. Hey, perfect. Nathalie, please.
Actually, we have shared the questions between us, and the first one is for Simona. I hope she's there. Or someone from D2?
Yes.
Yes, good.
Yes, I'm here. Hello. Good morning, colleagues. Yeah, well, what we expect from the Interreg A programs is since they are cross-border cooperation programs and they are working very closely with the territories and with the stakeholders and citizens of the cross-border territories. We expect that there you take all of the advantage of having this proximity, unlike transnational cooperation programs. So for us, what would really be important that these programs, which are operating which are having contacts with the regional and local stakeholders and which are close to the citizens, that they take an advantage of that. So indeed, we would very much like to encourage internal cross-border cooperation programs, namely, to consult with the citizens and to have that close, to enjoy from benefit from these close relations with the programs. I hope that this covers.
You take the next one directly.
Yes, please, I think one by one.
Yeah, is it for me as well, the next one?
Yes. Well, according to my script, yes.
Okay. Well, the monitoring committee members are the important intermediaries for the and they are one of the important stakeholders of the programs. So we think that their role is definitely to make an intermediary and to be closely involved and to help on one hand to promote the idea of the post 2027 consultations, to be also actively involved in the areas, in the territories, and in the constituencies that they represent. So because very often the monitoring committee members are namely for the cross-border cooperation programs, they are important players in the territories such as EGTCs or Euro regions or representatives of the civil society and social and economic partners. So as such, they have a big role to play because they can effectively, on one hand, organize some of the post 2020 consultation events, or on the other hand, as well themselves promote and explain what Interreg is and how important it is this time round to have citizens stand behind Interreg and cooperation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nathalie. And the next question on
It's
the
for Simona.
representativeness and sample size of consultation. Again, Simona, continue, please.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, as we said from the very beginning, there is not one size fits all for the size and sample of the programs, because this really depends a lot on the way how the programs operate, how big is are the territories that they cover. So from this point of view, it has to be somehow adapted by each and every program, and also the capacities of the program. We would, of course, like to encourage every program to be as representative as possible, and to have a sample of a consultation which, if possible, covers the important groups of citizens and important stakeholders of the territories. But at the same time, this has to be adapted to each and every program context. So so indeed, no one size fits all reply, but at the same time, you need to choose those to have such a sample that the replies that you are getting are plausible and relevant for the given territory. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then forward, how to reach citizens, where and how many? Partly the same, but okay, yes, please.
Well, yes, thank you very much. I'll take over this one. I mean, I think we got so much information from Christian. Thank you very, very much, Christian. So there's not very much for us to add. please, use all the information that you got from him, but, advertising using multipliers, organizations that can mobilize citizens for you. I mean, how many is really entirely up to you to decide. And please use some of the tips that he gave on the size of meaningful size of samples. I don't really want to add more on that. I think we spent a lot of time listening to very good advice from Christian. The nuts I will take also. Probably people here think I am nuts, so I'm the best one to answer that question. Well, again, we don't want this to become, an administrative exercise, ticking boxes that we've done this according to some rules and regulations. I mean, it's a voluntary exercise, so please just use the nuts level that is relevant to your program. That's really all we can say, and we're not going to check that you've covered all your nuts. Your nuts are yours. The last one on the screen is for Simona, but okay, the answer is very easy. Yeah? When should we use IVs?
Well, as soon as possible. Like, yeah, if possible,
now.
Engage immediately, because the consultation, as we understand, they are launched now, and the young people, they can help you from the outset, and namely at the shaping stage. So they can help you to to get new fresh ideas, and also to construct the way how we are going to organize, and help you organize as well these citizen engagement debates. So yes, please engage with our colleagues from AEBR who are here. I see Maria Fernanda. So very strongly encouraged that you contact them and engage immediately. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then let's go to the next set of questions. First one, which type of support is foreseen for cross-program initiatives? What type of actions at the nationwide scale can be put in place?
I think we haven't followed the order.
Yes, I think this is jumping a bit. We'll go back to the toolkit questions after this too. These are there. So if that's okay.
Okay.
Or we can go to toolkit and then return on this too, as you like. Maybe so. So we'll go to toolkit. So can programs deviate from the questions? So I guess Nathalie, please.
Now Simona.
Simona.
Okay. Well, the idea of the toolkit was that that we have a structure so that we can then gather the replies and the feedback from the consultations. But we have very clearly indicated in the toolkit that the questions should be adapted to the different programs context, mainly different strands, because we are clear that some of the questions are more relevant for example, for cross-border cooperation, or easier for cross-border cooperation. So in this respect, of course, the questions can and should be adapted. At the same time, the overall structure should we would like that to be kept, because this is what will make the final outcome and the feedback much more coherent and fit for the purpose. Let's put it this way.
Okay. And then the next question on questions related to my program posed to citizens.
Yes, I'll take that as it's interregional. It's also going to answer Sarah's question in the chat on ESPON. So indeed, and I think we've said it many times before, we we can adapt the consultations, or we should even adapt the consultations to our different program realities. And in a sense, the 4 interregional programs are slightly different and less anchored into a territory, and therefore maybe not as clearly connected or relevant to citizens directly. So in that sense, we've already said before that we would be happy if the interregional programs focused on stakeholders, the users of the programs, and maybe skipped the public, the citizens consultation, unless they have a way to do it and they're happy to do it. So we don't want to force that. Maybe Urbact is a bit different because it has, its cities, and maybe cities themselves could be a relay, but we don't want to overdo it and force that. The decision is
Now I believe we lost the connection with Nathalie again. Yes. Bad line.
It
seems to be.
really
No, I'm afraid we do not hear you anymore.
Maybe in the meanwhile,
is really your.
I can take. I mean, I can take over if
Okay.
needed. If we don't get Nathalie back.
Okay,
so
Simona,
she was. I think that she mainly. Sorry, Marco. I think that she mainly and that was about ESPON and interregional programs. I think that the main messages were passed, I believe. Maybe
yes,
do you want me to?
Yeah,
do you want me to repeat? Do you want me to? Well,
Sorry, did you not hear me at all?
In the beginning,
just
we did hear you, but then
the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that pan-European cooperation programs is, I mean, for me, it's the same question again. And adaptability, yes, adapt, please. You know best your stakeholders, so just adapt. As long as you keep, the gist of the questions that we've shared. Please, if you could. To that, but
I'm afraid we again lose the connection.
Stick to that, but you can of course adapt. No problem. Oh dear. I'm in the office. I mean, I can't believe that this is not working. I'm not even at home, So the toolkit will not be adapted, updated.
Okay.
Please just adapt to what your needs are and your wishes are. The toolkit will remain the toolkit.
And Sara Ferrara said that for her the message was clear. So you just so
right. So then going to the questions on overlaps and specific concerns.
So we've covered that slide, I think.
Did we? Was it already?
I think the overlaps, no. We changed order, but the overlaps is still open.
And after there's some questions
I can take it. I can take it.
Okay.
If need be.
Okay, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the idea that we remain to be we need to remain flexible anyway. We are aware that there can be overlaps, and there are overlaps in the territories of transnational and cross-border programs, but every program at the same time is different. So so clearly there might be cases where there is the coordination between the neighboring programs, for example, cross-border cooperation programs, could make sense. But at the same time, for example, it's clear that transnational cooperation program and cross-border will have, they will most likely have different stakeholders and different constituencies. But yes, we do encourage coordination among same types of programs, for example, among cross-border, if that's possible.
Okay, thank you. And I think Silvia already took this challenge up there in her presentation there. Okay, and then going forward, transport cooperation in maritime areas. I don't know what is exactly the question here. Do you remember about how to specify that?
Well, like if it's, yeah, the idea is that in these also the cross-border cooperation programs, which are maritime, they also do consult, because there are specific issues that they are facing, and it's very important that we highlight what are the benefits of these programs in the maritime, what are the obstacles that they are facing, and what is it that Interreg can bring to them, and what are the challenges, what are the obstacles, but also what they would like to see covered. It is very important. So yes, indeed, we would like to have them very much present in the consultation.
I think Silvia's input was really rich and brought a number of ideas how to do it, even in such maritime areas.
Yes.
Maybe if it's useful, we can also share some of the questions that we have rephrased in a more maritime way. So we can do that.
Okay, Silvia, I think that we will be very happy to reply to the questions of the maritime programs. Indeed.
Okay, thank you, Silvia, for your help in this. And then the next question is slightly different, so it's on
yes.
External border. Yes, please, Nathalie.
Yep. So yes, indeed, here typically this is the case where the circumstances are very different, and that adaptability is of course essential. We don't want to exclude the programs from the consultation, but of course it cannot be about cooperation with Russia and Belarus, which are the future. So it's not of, for instance, inclusion of.
Sorry, we have really bad connection. So
what other working. Okay. I will write down. Okay.
Or switch off your camera. Maybe that helps.
Okay, we can also provide these
okay,
answers
I'll try again.
in writing. Okay, no, it's perfect. Yes,
it's perfect. Okay, so I was saying that for the programs with the borders with Russia and Belarus, the cooperation is stopped, cancelled for the foreseeable future. So we think the consultation should not be about that. The consultation should be about possibly the new setup with the inclusion of some border regions into internal cross-border programs and how that works, and possibly maybe some new type of cooperation between regions, for instance, that share the same dramatic situation. That so you can still talk about cooperation in other forms, not with the neighbor, in a way. Okay, that's what we have in mind. But these programs are not excluded from the exercise.
Okay, thank you, Nathalie.
The last one is also for me.
Please.
So indeed, transnational programs, as Christian also highlighted in his presentation on the North Sea, are different from cross-border programs. Clearly, we think they should address their stakeholders as a priority, as a top priority. And I think they are doing that. If they can reach out to citizens, that's also even better. Then, of course, I guess the idea of doing consultation on a national level is also in their minds. If they feel they can do that and they can combine the results because they're asking similar questions or the same questions, then fine. One way could be to use the national representations in their monitoring committees. Maybe there is a lead ministry there representing the country, which can help consult other ministries. But, you know, we always prefer the cooperation dimension. So if the programs feel that also doing national consultations would help or would bring added value, please, of course, feel free to do that. If you think that this would defeat the purpose, then don't do it. Our answer is always the same. You really need to. You are the best judges of what makes sense in these consultations. So a suggestion could be to use your monitoring committee members, you know, the representation of the national levels in the monitoring committee, for instance, maybe to organize some either online or live consultations. Up to you.
Okay, thank you, Nathalie. And then maybe we'll come back into these two questions that we skipped there on the way. So if there's anything on these, either of you willing to take the first one?
A type of support for cross-program initiatives. Well, there isn't anything planned, if I may say. If programs want to collect their consultations together or organize them together, why not? But we are not, we haven't envisaged any specific support for that. That would be the answer on that one.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question here is about electronic questionnaires, and I think here, Nathalie, you referred already to EU survey that can be used, and
yes.
Here, but anything from your side to add before giving floor to Petra, maybe if Petra is willing to step in here, or any other colleague. But yeah, yes, please, Nathalie.
Simona, shall I do it?
Please go.
Yeah, okay. So, well, EU survey would be a tool. Then we would have to, of course, ask you to still make sure that you reflect the specificities of your programs. That's also why we decided not to do a Europe-wide consultation or a CBC-wide consultation, because we also wanted to have the specificities of each program, like the maritime will be different from the land borders, and doing it yourself gives you the opportunity to tailor the questions to your reality. Now, if anyone wants to do it jointly, absolutely fine, and EU survey could probably be a useful tool for that.
Okay, thank you for this hint, Nathalie. And Petra, do you want to step in?
Thank you very much for the question and for the belief that we are actually capable of coming up with some solution. However, as Nathalie said, maybe the EU survey would be the best tool, because first of all, we would understand the needs, and secondly, also the timing is essential. As Slavek said, by the end of October, all consultations should basically be over, and you should start to draft, or we should start, because we are a program as well, so we should start the drafting of the harvesting report, and we were looking into tools, also SurveyMonkey, but we heard today that SurveyMonkey is not an option for everyone. So yeah, for the time being, unfortunately, it's a no from our side because the timing, because also the money. We would need to understand how many programs would do this. Then the tool to prepare properly some market research or definition what we would need, and then to procure it would take time and resources, and we didn't plan with this. So sorry this time. And it's rare, but I must say we don't have a joint solution for this consultation. But thank you very much for the Commission for the EU survey tool. I think everyone should look into it, and maybe it will serve the need that we have. Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Petra. And that was the end of the questions that we had received in advance. So if there's any questions, Mercedes, in chat, do you see anything there that could be taken up?
There are questions. I just remind you that the EU survey link is in the chat just for you. And also there were some questions related to ABR and IVs. One of the questions are, two of them, they are from Italy, Slovenia. One is that they have already 2 IVs and they would like to have one more. Is this possible? I think Maria Fernanda, no, it was Nicolas was uploading, but maybe they could have a third one. I don't know who could answer this question. And then also from Italy, Slovenia, they would like to know for how long the online consultation should stay online.
I can take the one on the IVs, and maybe Maria Fernanda can complement. Indeed, we made it possible to have a third IV in a program structure, so meaning that it could even be like a third one as well for the joint secretariat, for example, in order to help with the post 2027 consultations. So yes, please contact ABR colleagues and get a third IV to help you with the post 2027. That is basically the condition, that if this is a third volunteer, he or she should take care of the post 2027 on top of the other IVs.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, Simona.
And there was this other question: for how long do you think it should be online, the consultation?
Well, on the duration, I think if Christian is still there, maybe he knows or he has some advice on this. But of course, it's tricky not to be too short, not to be too long. I would have thought maybe 6 weeks. But it's from my experience of running such things, that you have a lot of responses immediately after you publish it, because people react immediately, and some people then put a reminder closer to the deadline, and then in the middle there is a bit of a kind of lull. So for me 6 weeks seems to be reasonable, but again, there are also different cultures across Europe where you handle these things quite differently, so you will know better.
Okay, thank you, Nathalie. Okay, I can see that time is running, and if there are any questions still, I think we could still take the last one, but then we need to leave it for written answers. So
we have some questions in the Slido. One I think was still for Christian Huesmann, but he's left. But I don't know if anyone else maybe has an answer to this. The question was, what if the first problem is to explain territorial cooperation to our citizenship? Sometimes TC is not known by citizens, but by entities that develop projects.
Yeah, I think Christian tackled this question exactly there in his presentation. So maybe we can advise to contact him still if want to get more information. But Simona, would you like to add here?
Well, I think that we mention it also in the toolkit that it's important, if we are speaking with the citizens, it is important to give them the context and to explain if they do not know, if they have not been in touch with Interreg projects before, if they are not aware. And we need to consider that probably they are not, then every program should invest in explaining in very plain language what is it that Interreg programs are bringing the citizens of the territory, mention examples of projects from their surroundings, so that it is clear what is it as a tool, as a European policy instrument Interreg is. And it's also a very important promotion and communication exercise which is linked to it. Yeah, indeed, I mean there is many programs have texts about themselves, like clear and easy text for the citizens on their social media or websites, but yeah, for the citizens it is especially important to use a very plain language and concrete examples to help them understand what it is.
Okay, thank you, Simona. So Severina, if you pick up one question, that being last question, and then we'll start to wrap up. And
yes, there's one more question. This is about the questions in toolkit, I think. It's about the question, what would be the cooperation project of your dreams, is the last question, but this open question, how will it be analyzed?
Given the consultation written report, I understood so
yes.
How it will be analyzed. Okay.
Nathalie, are you still there, or do you want me to come in?
I'm still there. I'm reflecting.
How the feedback will be analyzed? That's the question, right? Sorry,
yes.
Severina, have I? Yeah. Well, I think that we have not made you know a concrete decision yet. How exactly? Okay. Okay, I see that I missed the question. So it is about the how the projects of your dream will be analyzed. That was the question, right? Because
yes.
I could not. Yeah, okay, I could not see the question. Well, I'm not sure that will be really analyzed, but it will be a very important information, namely for the programs themselves, to see what are the dream projects for their territories. But on our side, it will of course give us a very important and interesting insight of what are the citizens' aspirations in different borders. So from this perspective, the project of your dreams is something which is very telling. It is something extremely concrete and also very easy to communicate if there are very nice examples of Interreg projects, dream projects. So we are very much looking forward to that kind of replies from the citizens. I don't know, Nathalie, if you want to comment on that one.
Yes, I of course you will read probably all sorts of responses from from stakeholders or citizens on that one. We count on you to, extract from that the substance or the outstanding ideas that you consider are worth sharing further with other programs and with us as part of the harvesting exercise. Again, I'm sorry to say it's a little bit how you want to prepare the handling of all the responses that will come in. Some of them will be easy. Maybe you will have some quantified questions or quantifiable questions. But for that one, indeed, you will have to probably read through all sorts of contributions and find the best summary of that, or the best features you could decide that, or what comes up most often from the responses.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nathalie. Thank you, Simona, for your responses. And I think we close the session now for questions and answers, and go forward to wrap up on next steps. But before giving the floor to Simona and Nathalie, back to you. So I would like to invite Rosa on stage here, and to tell a bit Interreg Cooperation Day initiative. Rosa, you're
Thanks,
still there.
Marco.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Please.
Well, thanks, Marco, and to the rest of the team for organizing this excellent webinar. I will be very brief. I'm Rosa, Communication Manager at Interact, and currently coordinating the campaign Interreg Cooperation Day, formerly known as Easy Day. Today, we present you an optimal opportunity, both direct and dynamic, to engage with citizens in your post-27 consultation. And which is this proposal? Well, organizing a local event in the framework of Interreg Cooperation Day, where you can easily create a dialogue environment with citizens, pose the questions, and readily collect the information and valuable responses from them. This Interreg Cooperation Day is a Europe-wide campaign facilitated by us, Interact, but led by you, Interreg programs and partners, who are the ones organizing, engaging, fun, and public events to connect cooperation with local communities. So every September, dozens and dozens of events are hosted, sometimes over 100, to promote Interreg projects and results to the citizens that are outside the Interreg bubble. And it's true that thanks to your efforts, to the program's efforts for these last consecutive years, we've reached over 10 million people. Because all of these reasons, we really encourage you to seize this opportunity, plan an event for the upcoming months of September or October, invite the citizens, and conduct your consultation in a really straightforward way. Furthermore, this year, we are celebrating the campaign under the theme Cooperation Overcoming Borders. So it can be an ideal moment to bring citizens together, to reflect via a dialogue, a picnic, a fair. Well, you have a lot of good practices from Christian and from colleagues that have already shared what they are going to do. You can reflect on the impact borders have had within Europe and all the steps we've taken to reduce these obstacles on our daily lives. So what are we going to offer you from Interact? Well, as every year, we give you support, we give you guidance and webinars for the organization of local events. And as every year, we also give visibility through a social media campaign, website visibility, harmonized branding that we can share with you, and a custom promotional video. So I'm leaving here, as you can see in this slide, my contact details. Please feel free to email me. We can have a chat about it. I will be also in Riga at the IAKF with a stand. So join me, and I'm looking forward to preparing and collaborating with you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Rosa. So anyone interested, so just be in contact with Rosa. So interesting proposal and option for you. Okay, so now I would give the floor back to Simona, Nathalie. So what are the next steps? So how to go forward after this event?
Well, the first next step immediately after this is, of course, the knowledge fair in Riga. Okay, where I mean, we will continue to discuss post 27, not necessarily your consultation with others, but if you have questions on that in Riga, we will of course be there. And I think the next big milestone is when we meet in November, right? The modalities for all of that are still to be defined. We know it's November, we know it's in Brussels. We are looking at the venue, but you will receive, of course, messages well on time from Interact once we have all the necessary elements that we can communicate to you. And then, of course, after that, the next very big one will be the final harvesting moment in Gorizia, Nova Gorizia. The location is confirmed. The date is end of March. We're still working on the exact days, but end of March 2025. Voilà, so I think that leaves us, you know, a bit less than a year to do all this. There's no need to rush. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So, you know, take your time to reflect and plan carefully. Don't you know, dive into things unprepared. I would say that would be my only advice. After today, you have a lot of food for thought, and maybe you can gather your thoughts after this and then decide as a program how you want to proceed. And I just want to repeat one last time that we really, you know, this is a kind of joint effort between Interact, TESIM, DG REGIO and all the programs. It's not about being administratively correct. It's about really seeking to enrich the debate on what Interreg should look like in the future. And please do what you can under your own circumstances would be my main message. And thank you very, very much to to Interact for organizing, but to the contributors. I thought they were very practical and inspiring. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Nathalie, for these encouraging words. Simona, would you like to compliment or?
I think, Marco, that it was perfectly said. I share fully what Nathalie said, and I'm just looking forward to the results of the consultation. And yes, indeed, just to stress once more that this is a very important moment for Interreg community, and we need to do. Everybody needs to do as much as he can to contribute and to make a case for Interreg. These are the times where this will be very much needed. And if there is a strong support from the community and from the territories, it will certainly help. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Simona. And now I'm glad to hand it over to Petra for closing remarks. Please, Petra.
Thank you very much, Marco, and thank you very much, everyone. I think everything was said, and we are already 17 minutes over the time. It's Friday afternoon, as it was said, a lot of inspirational inputs from the experts, from the Commission, from the programs. So now we have to digest it and prepare well for the consultation. But first thing first, have a very nice weekend. Enjoy your free time, and Monday the new week starts with new challenges and hopefully new ideas for the post-27 consultation process. Thank you very much also from Interact side, and big thanks to all of my colleagues who prepared this webinar for you.
And don't forget the evaluation. Sorry, don't forget the evaluation that Severina just put it in the chat, okay? Thank you. It's important for us.
Thank you very much, Mercedes, for reminding me.